Okay. Yeah. All right. So 2 things. One, if you guys, anybody here at the Orpies last week, you saw it. Okay. You missed, if you weren't there, you missed 2 things. One was me face planting, going up the stage to give an award away. And the second was me losing to this taller dude. I think he only won because he's taller and better looking and maybe a better connector. But anyways, my name's Steve Bell. I'm a partner with Harding Bell International. We're a CPA firm, and we work with you guys. Anybody here self-employed? Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Just a few of you. Anyways, we do anything property related, work with real estate agents, property management, accounting, investors, specifically foreign investors, beginning to end. If you reach out to me, we definitely will give you a free consultation for your taxes. If you're not happy with your accountant, maybe your accountant costs too much. Well, we probably do too, but that's another story. But no, we really, we're in this space. We work with you guys. We want to help you have successful deals, closings. There's those of you here in the room can attest to that. We do help you make those things happen. So thank you for being here. Looking forward to today.
Steve is like way cooler than me. Steve's great. Hey guys, I am Shay Walker with Shay Walker Photo. I am a branding photographer, which means I get all the amazing images for you, of you in your marketing, social media, anywhere you can show up visually and make a good first impression and convey your message and your branding. My photo shoot is called the Vibe Session, which means it is fit to you and your vibe. It is not a copy and paste kind of thing. It's lots of fun. You guys know, I see you. Sorry. Ask anyone that shoots with me. It's a lot of fun. And you don't have to be a pro in front of the camera. You don't have to know how to pose. I'm here to guide you, prep you, and have you love your images and know how to use them. I also own a brand studio right here in Orlando called The Vibe Creative. It is where I do some of my sessions, and there is a video and content and podcast studio within it as well. So you can do content days or do photos and videos in there too. To see exactly what I do and how I do it, go to my Instagram. It's Shay Walker Photo, S-H-A-Y Walker Photo. You can see my studio in my bio as well. It's a whole different thing. And you can connect with me there. And I hope to meet some of you guys soon, and happy masterminding. Woohoo!
How about that one? All right. So, Jimmy with Waterstone Mortgage. We're here in Winter Park, right, Lee Road 94. A few people in the crowd I know work with us, and probably most of you have heard of us. I'm not going to bore you with all the loan programs we do. This is a luxury class. That's great. We do that. We do everything. But what we've been doing recently is kind of revamping our realtor training, our classes. Come back in. We got a whole encyclopedia, if you will, of classes on first-time buyers, move-up buyers, buyers from out of state, buyers that are self-employed, all these things. So if you want to have a one-on-one or us come to your office, come to our office. We do a Zoom meeting. We do a live lunch and learn. Do a number of things to help you sell more homes. For example, manufactured homes. I've done over $1 million in manufactured homes in the last 2 months. Not sexy, but that pays. So, you know, who knew we'd live in a $400,000 manufactured home environment? So, anyways, Jimmy with Waterstone, Tom, and Eric are here with me. Come see us.
Yeah, I will. Hey, y'all, make sure you talk right into the mics, by the way, or they won't sound right.
Hello? Oh, sorry, just checking. Hey. Hi, got to follow all these guys. My first time here. I'm with Artesian Title and Escrow. So hi. Just want to say real estate is a team sport. It kind of takes all of us to get a file to closing. We have over 1,000 5-star Google reviews. And yeah, so we're here to hopefully make relationships with all of you guys and just kind of treat it like a team sport. So thank you.
Love it.
Awesome.
Let's keep this going.
Hey, everybody. Are y'all awake? All right. Heather Hurry, Richard McKay with Pillar to Post, the Jeff Mackey team. Thank you. I love y'all. I was going to say save the best for last, but that sounded a little, he told me to say it, though. Yes, he did. Anyway, so listen, we're so happy to see you, and I just want to share with you, we're here to serve you. It's all about you. Right now, the industry is Well, it's a little crazy. It's changing, but I think there's some things going on with rates that might be good, which really isn't in our wheelhouse. But we are here to be an extension of you. I've said that before, right? When we're out and we're in front of your clients, everything that we say and do should be what you're saying and doing. From a level of professionalism to how we deliver, to our same-day reporting, to our measured wall and floor plans, I could go on, right? So just find us after. We're going to be over at Eden Eating. It's on us or it's on whoever's sponsoring, right? Eden Eating. Did you guys get that? Yeah. So come see us. We love you guys. Have a great masterclass.
All right. And then there's a few sponsors that aren't here. I'm just going to make sure I give them a shout out. We'll give them a clap in a second, but let me list them all off. We got Mosin and his crew with Florida Home Photo. We got Chance with Miracle Movers of Florida. We got Vic DeVore Design, had the coffee delivered at least. I don't know if they're here or coming later. And we also had the crew with Federal Savings Bank. That's the home team. Let's give them all a round of applause. All right, y'all ready to get started? You guys came to learn something, right? All right, let's kick this off. Mel Bernstein's an inaugural member of Club 1744, which is Premier Sotheby's Top 100 Advisors. He and his wife, Tina, live in Lake Mary, and they've continually grown luxury market share, the luxury space, including $33 million closed year to date, $14 million pending, and $17 million in active listings, and that's without a team. And I know he's winning our M Club award every year, which means the seven-figure average. So let's give it up for Mel Bernstein. All right. I'm going to jump around a little bit because I want us to be able to sit in a different order. So, Maria, for more than 2 decades, Maria Van Warner has been one of Central Florida's top realtors. She's been Fannie Hillman's top producing individual agent for 9 of the last 10 years. That's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, you guys could clap for that. Over $38 million in sales last year, a former EMT and social worker. She brings her extensive people experience to the table with each client. She's earned 5-star recognition by Florida for exceptional service, customer satisfaction for several straight years, and she's also really active in the community. Let's give it up for Maria Van Warner. Mike Stewart's a 20-year veteran in Orlando's luxury market. He and his wife, Teresa, own Southern Realty Group. They've ranked in the top 25 agents for the last 4 years, and they currently are at just over $50 million sold this year alone. Let's give it up, and that's individually as well, not his team. So let's give it up for Mike Stewart, Southern Realty Group. Now, we have a guest today who did not expect to be speaking, so we have to give her a great round of applause in a second because Pam Ryan told me that she was diagnosed with COVID last night, so make sure that you send her your thoughts and prayers. So I asked MaryStuart Day, hey, can I throw you on this panel in Pam's place the last second? And she is usually not excited to speak in front of large groups of people. So throwing her up last second without preparation, y'all take it easy on her. Let's give her a warm welcome and a giant round of applause. MaryStuart Day. One of the top agents in Central Florida year after year after year after year, and one of the top luxury agents locally. And she's with Fannie Hillman Associates as well. All right. Last but certainly not least, I should have done it that's my fault. I should have known.
I messed up.
I should have put them together. You're right. All right. George Stringer. He's been in real estate for 36 years, all with Coldwell Banker. Well, that alone is pretty impressive. He has no partners. He has no team. He has no full-time assistant. Last year, he closed $35 million. He's ranked in the top, I would say 25, maybe top 50 every single year we've ever ranked it since 2016, and he probably did it for a decade before I started ranking it. He had his best year to date last year at $35 million. Let's give a giant round of applause for Mr. George Stringer. All right. Welcome, welcome. And y'all, you're on if your thing glows green, and you have to hit the bottom button if it's not glowing green. And make sure you talk into it, because even if they can hear you, the Zoom people can't if you're too quiet. So here's how I'd like to start. I'll start with you, George. Let's talk about how you first started in real estate and what your business model looks like today. I kind of answered that question for you because you don't have a team, so maybe that one's simple. But talk about how you got into real estate.
Okay, can anybody hear me? Okay. I started in real estate actually in raw land, and I was then recruited by a lady that opened the Coldwell Banker office on the south end of town, and I said, oh, I'm just doing raw land. I'm a land guy. I'm not a residential guy, but as it turned out, raw land deals don't pay quickly. So I finally, after 6 months, she pursued me, and I went to work for Coldwell Banker. It was just starting, and I never looked back. It was one of the best moves I ever made, and I've had a wonderful career. I'm very happy about that.
Love it. Mike, how'd you get?
Actually, I got into real estate. I was a pizza brat. I started with Papa John's Pizza at store 25 and left at store 3800. We sold our franchises in '04, and so I was kind of looking for the next business model to get in. And believe it or not, George Stringer was our first realtor. We were looking at homes in Bay Hill. And my wife just said, hey, you're great with people, getting, real estate's a people business. So we started out 20 years ago. My wife and I own our own brokerage, Southern Realty Group. She's the broker of the company. And kind of like George, we don't have a team. We're just us two individual. We do have 15 to 20 agents that we mentor. But other than that, that's kind of how we got started.
Did George inspire you by being really good, or he inspired you by leading?
Let's just say my wife is tough to please, but I thought he did a great job. It's on. I can't hear you.
Hers is not working, but it looks on. We'll switch it if it's not working.
Hello? Oh, that works. Hey, good morning. I'm MaryStuart Day. How to get in the business. I was actually a kindergarten teacher and loved doing that. And then it kind of crazy. I mean, I don't think really any of us ever, nowadays, of course, it's like a degree in college that people can go and get, which I'm kind of jealous about that. But I don't know if a lot of us just like say, I want to be a realtor. But, I mean, I love it. But I got into it because my stepmother was at Fannie Hillman for 24 years. And in the summers when I was teaching school, I just would help her out. And then at one time, my dad got ill. She had to, like, take some time off to take care of him. And she was like, why don't you not go to school? Why don't you not teach this year? Come in, take over my business. And then, and then you could go back to teaching next year. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, why not? I'll take up, how about a change? And so I did, and then she ended up retiring, and then I just ended up staying. And that was 22 years ago. So I have been at Fannie Hillman for 22 years. I have an assistant, and I sell, average like 30 to 45 million. I've gotten up to over 50 before a year. It's, I don't recommend it. It's really hard. You will not see your family. You won't see anybody. You have no life. You might get breast cancer. It's all good. But just kidding. Okay, here you go, Maria.
She's right. Breast cancer.
Speaking of that, if you're going to team me up, I got to plug next month.
Yeah, we both, yes.
It's our pink out session next month. That's October, I think, 19th. I don't know. It's the third Thursday in October. But it will be here. We'll have 5 women wear your pink, and all the proceeds go to Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Since you plugged it, I figured I had to say it.
So I'm Maria Van Warner. I also am at Fannie Hillman. I've been there 21, 22 years, along with MaryStuart. We have always been the top 1 or 2 for years. I do not have an assistant. I work full-time. I'm crazy. My daughter will tell me, Mom, you're always on your phone. I go, do you like your cell phone? Things like that. But I got into real estate because when I moved here, I'm a former social worker. We moved here, 37 years ago. And I always used to tell people, hey, I know someone who might want to buy your house because I liked real estate. And then I knew someone who maybe was selling their house. And I would put the deals together and connect them, and they'd take me out for a nice dinner. And it was lovely. And my husband said, why don't you start making money at this? So I did. Anyway, that's, how I got started. And years later, I'm still doing it and loving it. So, and I've only been at Fannie Hillman.
That works. Yeah, I'm good. I'm Mel Bernstein. I'm with Premier Sotheby's. We got started in real estate a long time ago, early 90s. We started off in mortgages, my wife and I, at a mortgage brokerage company, a lending company, simultaneous real estate. Real estate was just a kind of a second fiddle. Enter financial crisis 2008. Mortgages got really crazy real quick, as some of you guys might remember if you're doing mortgages back then. So we put our focus onto real estate. And over the past 9 or 10 years, we've been working on a pretty high level with it. So that's all we've ever done is real estate and mortgage type stuff. And we find it to be a good, work-life balance or work-life integration. So
Love it. Let's just dive right into some of these questions. I'll stay with you, Mel. And if you just hear me, I'm walking around, so don't even try to find me. It'll just make you confused. What are the biggest differences between selling luxury real estate and selling your average property?
I find it to be less of a headache. Typically, you can get all kinds of it, whether it's a $200,000 house or $1 million or $5 million home. Everybody has the same challenges, the same wants, the same needs, same desires. It just, for us, it's in the luxury price point. They've been around the block. Conversations can be much more level-headed. There's just less roadblocks, although sometimes when there is one, it can be monumental. So I'd say it's the same, but a little easier.
What do you think, Maria?
And the pay's better.
I take $25,000 buyers. There's not many properties like that. And then there's $1 million buyers. And I take them all. I don't see a huge difference. I think my thing is I have to educate the lower end buyers more. Many times they're first time home buyers, which I love educating the buyers or sellers and walking them through the deal. But the luxury, I agree with Mel. The luxury buyers, they're more knowledgeable. They've been this route before many times. So, yeah.
Love it.
I'd have to say I kind of have to agree with you. I don't really treat them any differently. Back when COVID was happening and homes were flying off the market, I didn't care what price range it was. They were getting professional photographers every time. They were getting a floor plan. They were getting brochures. I didn't care if it was $200,000 or $2 million. I treated them all like I still marketed, and I will tell you, I got more business from people who came to the houses and saw wow, oh gosh, your photos look so great online. And, they want that for their home. So it doesn't matter. When I see agents who put their, photos with, with their cameras and get a professional photographer. It's just a few $100 and people will see it and it's a great thing. Download Kubicasa, do floor plans for your houses and such. Little things like that. So I really don't veer when it comes to the different price ranges, because I do think I have gotten a lot of business from the lower ranges when I'm still providing the same type. Now, when you get into the higher ranges, I will say that we have a partnership with a luxury portfolio, a division where we for $1 million and up properties where we market even on a higher level and out there just on so many different things.
What are some of those? Can you give them a few examples of the types of things? Are we talking about luxury websites? Are we talking about a higher end listing media?
Yeah, higher end. I might have to get Mel's. You could interrupt me. He has his microphone to interrupt me. Never mind.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry. I forgot I gave the mic.
But luxury portfolio. So it's a company, I guess you could say, that our company, Fannie Hillman, is a membership of. So, but I'm sure there's many of them. There's other ones out there. It's a referral network system too, but it's this division of it has to do with all the higher end ones. So AdWorks. I pay for AdWorks for all my listings, not just the $1 million ones, but the $1 million ones go to different websites. So AdWorks, are y'all familiar with that? It's kind of like, it's an ad you pay for. It gets out on Facebook. It gets out on, anyone who's looking for, real estate, and they've searched on Realtor.com for a certain property, all of a sudden, the ad will be on their website. I have people who randomly just text me, go, oh my gosh, you're on my Facebook page. I'm like, oh, that's weird. But it's not me. I'm not advertising myself. I'm advertising the home. And then there's a link and it goes to it. So it goes out to a ton of different sites. And the nice thing about that is that, anyone can do AdWorks. You can go on any different type of venue and do AdWorks. But, you put your client's email in there. They get an email every day if you do it for like 10 days or 2 weeks. They will see how many people have clicked on it. So like I just did one the other day. I think they're up to like 5,000 views and like 200 clicks or something, meaning people have actually clicked on their property. Well, if we're not getting showings and we're not getting offers, but I'm showing that people are out there looking at it online, it kind of helps me if I need to talk about price, if I need to talk about other things, because they're actually seeing real time people really looking at this stuff. So I don't know, that's one. But the I do different AdWorks for different price levels.
Love it.
I'm babbling a lot. Okay,
Maria, did you want to add anything to that one?
No, I mean, we also market overseas and all over the world. We're part of luxury real estate. So, and that's our company that.
Sure.
Leading real estate companies of the world. Yes.
Understood. Yeah. Mike?
I think one of the things, and right or wrong for me, but one of the things that I've taken pride in the last 20 years with us is we don't have a physical office. I've been virtual for over 20 years. When I looked at real estate and I looked at the model, I just couldn't justify, paying the rent and having the overhead, basically, when I felt like when you're in an office, and I'm not criticizing an office whatsoever, I just felt like that I wasn't out networking, I wasn't out finding clients. The difference between luxury and I don't even know what luxury is anymore. I think when I got into business 20 years ago, it was, 400,000 or 500,000, and I just sold my first house this year for over 10 million. So it's been crazy. But the reality for me is I've chosen a different path where I've joined some of the nicer country clubs in Orlando. I've chosen some of the nicer social clubs, and that's where I probably pulled 90% of my business is through the networking processes of being and basically collaborating and being part of that environment. And that's really, really important in the luxury model. It's not about it's not about the car you drive or anything like that, but it's just more of, if you really want to break into that luxury market, then you probably really wanted to, be around luxury clients, if that makes sense. But just like everyone else up here, I mean, my son's back there, Jay Stewart, he's 25 years old, made top 35 out of 35 this year. And we've taught him that, like you said, $25,000 client or the $25 million client, treat them all, take it all. Commission check's a commission check. So
love it. How about you, George? What do you think the difference is?
I don't really think there is a difference between luxury and average real estate, except for the fact that the affluent market does expect more communication regularly. They expect confidence in what you know and what you exude and what you share. And it helps if you are able to build rapport quickly with affluent people through connections or similarities or where you're from or whatever you have. But otherwise, you treat everybody the same. The panel has all covered it quite well. We treat people equally, but I think that the luxury market, just the affluent market, just requires or asks for a little more attention, hand-holding, but they are used to the process, and that's really the only difference. I started many years ago with the very bottom, and I dealt with some communities that were people that were one step from retirement, and that did teach me a lot about patience, and I'd worked that market long and hard for many years, and I think that's helped me as I moved and evolved into the affluent market and the luxury market. But I really think as long as we treat people the same, no matter whether regular real estate or whether affluent, luxury, I think we find the level of success that we need and do what we say and get it done. And that's probably why we're all here.
Love it. Love it. All right, I've got two questions. The first one's a really quick one to just go down the line. I want to know, in your opinion, how much of your luxury business is built, in your opinion, intentionally by doing things like joining country clubs, and how much is built by default because you're in Lake Mary, Winter Park, Windermere, and Dr. Phillips. So I'd love to hear each of your just perspectives on that to share. Is it because you're farming the right areas? Is it because your strategy with the people, or is it kind of a mix of just who you're connected to and what you're doing? Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll start. So a long time ago, I looked at what I was going to do, and I thought, I'm going to handle real estate or residential real estate that will move.
Put that up closer. They won't hear you online otherwise.
I decided I was going to work with people in price points that would move. So I did that for many, many years. And then I moved into a country club community about 25 years ago. And I think it's smart to know your market where you live, and you'll sell where you live. So it evolved into that. And then I still work both markets, but I thought it would be wise if the economy shifted and one market was doing better than the other, I would have kind of both. So that was a strategic decision to work with what moved regularly and often. It was affordable. And then I wanted to invariably get into the luxury market. But it took time. It took a lot of work. And then now where I live and the people I'm associated with, that helped, like what Mike said about where they are. I belong to a couple clubs, but that's just an evolution. That's not something that anybody can start out doing. Let's face it, we have to work and save and budget. And so I've been fortunate that it's evolved that way.
And were you farming that area as well?
Yeah.
Were you living there? Give me a little bit of what you actually did.
I farmed the lower market, and I farmed it hard, and I worked it really hard. And it was my first community that I lived in. And then when I had the fortunate opportunity to move into this country club community, invariably through networking and meeting people and hopefully rapport building and trust, which is probably my strength, it evolved. And
Love it.
And I'm really pleased with that. But it wasn't originally intended to be luxury. I don't think you can become luxury overnight. It's not easy. You've got to learn. There's no shortcut for experience.
Love it. That was a great answer. Mike, what do you think?
So we live in a community down in Windermere, and it's 1,052 homes. We've been in there over 20 years now. And when you talk about farming, I mean, we essentially own that community. We're probably responsible for 30 to 35% of the sales in that community. And 20 years ago, those homes were, 500,000, and now they're over $1 million, and some are over 10 million. But we've really primarily tried to focus on a certain, actually I call it a 5-mile radius. I don't go much outside of 5-mile radius, and I really, really know that market really, really well.
Real quick, how many of you guys were here last month when you heard John Pinnell talk about going only a 3.5-mile radius? Before anyone seen that pattern? A few of y'all were here.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty simplistic model if you get down to it, because my morning starts out at 6 a.m. every morning, and I get up and I look at what's on the market, what's come on the market, what's gone pending, and then what has sold. And I probably have a list of over 100 clients that I know are probably either looking or thinking about selling or thinking about buying. And if I see something that pops up to me, I go, oh wow, that their home is, they thought their home was worth $1.4 million. Here's a comp I just found for $1.6 million. I'll email that to them. And that's kind of my marketing. I mean, we spend, like I said, we've done over $50 million this year, and we'll spend less than $3,000 a month in marketing, which is pretty incredible for what we think. So I
love it. So what I heard is that every single morning you're checking everything, getting your finger on the pulse of what's happening.
Yeah, I find between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock at night is the best time to reach out to clients. People probably have their device in their hand, right? They're up having their morning coffee, or they're having, whatever they're doing to get their morning going. Or in the evening, they're starting to relax. But unfortunately, we're all tied to our cell phones for the most part. So I usually, that's kind of my time. And so that's where I've found the most success, where clients will respond back to you.
Love it. MaryStuart?
Our market. Okay, so I have to agree that I when I started the business, I sold everywhere from Lake Mary, Sanford, Windermere, you name it, all that. Not that I don't do that now, but I'm fortunate enough I don't have to. I've really narrowed it down to a certain radius in Winter Park, in Maitland, Baldwin Park, College Park, stuff like that. But I would say, but that took time. I think it definitely took time. It just didn't happen overnight. But also one of the things I do in order to tap into, to keep with the luxury market is that, and Maria has a different type of connection that she keeps with all of her clients, and you might do this too, but I don't farm a certain neighborhood, but every time I have a listing or every time I have a sale, I have a postcard that is a big, beautiful postcard, has multiple photos of it, and it says just listed or just sold. And I send it to every single one of my clients that I have had over time, over the years. So, someone maybe I've sold house 10 years ago, but they're seeing every sale that I've had in a postcard. So they get, and they're like, I mean, I run into clients who are like, oh my gosh, you're like, I keep getting your postcards all the time. I'm like, you're on my trip. Yeah, that's why, it's for a reason. But then they remember me. And then I would say majority of my business does come from referrals. And so, you know, that's really wise, because I'm constantly in my clients, you know, and I'm in their mail, and people look at postcards. I look at postcards. I don't know. I mean, I know it's like old school kind of stuff, but it still works. I get a lot of that. So, but yes, joining a country club. I mean, I'm a member of the Winter Park Racquet Club, but just not being a member, but also like being on a committee. I'm on a committee there. Had a meeting last night for membership. Tonight we have like 10 new members that we're kind of prospecting and meeting tonight. So I'll meet them. So it's kind of, you know, I don't just go there just to have fun. I actually go there and I work. And my husband's on the board and all this stuff. So it's like, you know, getting involved is really important. When I started off, I was married to the Winter Park Chamber. That is all I did. I was single. I was married to the chamber. I was volunteer of the year. I was ambassador of the year. Oh my gosh, I did Winter Park leadership, and then I chaired it and this and that. Finally, I'm like, I am divorcing them because I'm going to actually go find a real husband.
Love it.
And that was my goal, and I did. I was like, I got to divorce the chamber.
All right.
And then I finally met my husband. But that was huge. I really got to know so many people that way too. So
love it. Maria, how about you?
So I used to mentor a lot of the new agents years ago, and they always ask me, how did you get successful? How did you start in real estate? So I had 4 children, and they did various schools. I lived in Winter Park. They were involved, and I tell the new agents this, you know, business doesn't fall in your lap. You have to get out there. You have to market yourself. You have to always talk real estate and be the expert. So I said, you know, having the children involved in school, activities, church, organizations, we're members of Interlochen. I became the expert and talked about real estate everywhere I went. So even walking through my neighborhood in Winter Park, the Villas, it was wonderful, because if I wanted business, I'd go for a walk, and neighbors would stop me. Maria, what's going on? Sorry. With this property. Sorry. What's going on with this property? You know, I might want to sell my house. So I was fortunate, because just being in the area and in the neighborhood or in Winter Park and joining various organizations, I would get business, because I always talked real estate. I also was tried to give back and was on the grievance committee for the Realtor Association. If you've never done that, it's an experience. I did it for 2 years. I was on the awards committee. Great experience, and you really learn about agents how they got successful in the business as well. But yeah, I just tell people it's not going to fall in your lap. Get out there, market it, talk about it everywhere you go. I'm one of those crazy agents. I cover Winter Park, which is my specialty, in Maitland, Central Florida, but I also go to St. Pete because I have a house there. So I go back and forth, and I take a listing anywhere. And if I can't do it, I bring a partner in, because I always feel something is better than nothing, whether it's a $25,000 one or $100,000, whatever.
No, you're giving a nugget here. Can I ask you about that specifically? For the people in the room that get presented with an opportunity where they can't handle it themselves, how and who do you approach? Like, where do you find your partner? How do you pick them? What's the conversation look like?
I'm fortunate. Fannie Hillman, I partner with 2 of them are here today, and they are wonderful, and they're always ready, able, willing to go out and get the job done, because our reputation is everything.
And that's wherever they are, or is there a different approach if they're far enough away?
I'm like that. Yeah, like that. Like, there's an agent in our office that lives like out like in a Apopka area, and if it's a great listing, and my clients are like, no, I really want to work with you. I'm like, great. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in Kelly because she lives in the area and she's really close. She'll be boots on the ground, but I mean, because it's like you don't want to think that you're getting rid of them. You don't want to let them go, but you also want to give them really good service, and when you could. So I partner with different agents.
Love it. Mel, we're talking, just to make sure we're all on the same page, to reiterate the question, we're talking about how much is strategically targeting luxury and how much comes as a byproduct of what you're doing and where you live and who you are.
So we're at the point of our business now. I wouldn't say it's by design, but it was purposely done. When we were going back some years, we were real big into Zillow, Realtor.com. 80, 90 transactions a year, rat race all over town, wherever the lead was going. I ran it. I didn't care. 25,000, 200,000, I'm going to make it happen. But we decided that we wanted to readjust our business to be more listing focused. And as we started to use our successes in our sales, we did a lot of direct mail. We also have some really great postcards. One disadvantage we have in our market is it's a very small market on our side of town, but it's advantageous in the sense that, like Mike and Mick and John, I try not to go out of my 5-mile radius. It's my little sweet spot. I know the data. I get hits all day long about what's listed, what's pending, what's sold. I know my numbers. I know my competition's numbers. But for us, postcards, every sale that we had, and this is something that anybody can do. You have a great sale in a market that you want to focus on, market the heck out of that sale. Let everybody know multiple times. Don't do it once or twice. Hammer it, and people will notice. And now we're at the point where we don't do hardly any mail. We've positioned ourselves in our little section of our subsection of this market where we do happen to get calls often because people are used to seeing us, seeing what we do, professional photos and video on absolutely everything. Doesn't matter what the price point is, if it's 200,000 or 5 million, it's our same crew, it's the same process, and everybody gets the same level of service.
Real quick show of hands. Do you all, is it true for all of you? I'm assuming, do all of you have professional, high-quality stuff on any single listing at all time? I just thought I'd ask. Keep on mouse.
Critical, at least for us anyway. So that's really how we positioned ourselves in the market today, and that's how it's now, fortunately, it's almost self-perpetuating. So,
how often? Oh, go ahead.
Can I say something?
Go for it.
Just off of what Maria said, she triggered a thought. Real estate is a contact sport, is what I call it. So, the more contacts you make, the more people you see, and the higher probability of business and relationships and the growth. But she said something that I can relate to. My wife's here in the front row, who's my right arm. I go in the mornings often for walks through our community, and it's unbelievable the contacts I make every single time. Neighbors driving by in the car, walking, jogging, golf cart, whatever. And it's incredible how just the contact of being out there just can lead to more and more business, and of course the rapport and the relationships you have. So I just wanted to make that addition to what Maria's, because it triggered that happens to me almost every day.
Love it. Before my next question, the listing media question, maybe trigger a thought. How about staging? How often is staging a part of what you guys are doing? I'll just run on the line. Just give me an idea.
Well, for me, I've got just a little bit of knowledge to be dangerous about staging. I've learned a few things, but enough to get it ready for photography and enough to have it ready to go to the market. But if it's a lot, or if we've got a borderline hoarder, which is somewhat of an issue I've learned in the last number of years, how so many people have so much stuff, then I'll recommend a staging company or a liquidation company or whatever it takes, because that is truly one of the most prevalent things I've learned in the last 10 or years or so, is people that want to sell that just have so much stuff. So I'll take it to a degree if it's mostly there, but if it's bigger than me, then I'll have them bring in a professional, because it's just part of who we are as a society.
Amen. Mike?
I've never staged a property in 20 years. So we're one of the things we do when we come in and we're looking at a property, we give recommendations to the seller that says, hey, we had a house one time, and the master bed was right at the entrance of the master. And we asked the client 5 different times, please move the master bed, please move the master bed. And she was like, no, I'm not doing it. And after 6 weeks, we just did it. And we sold it on the next showing. And so, but we've never been proponents of staging. Not that it doesn't work. It's just been something we feel like as someone comes in and looks at a home, if you do it the right way, and there's a lot of great people out there that do it, I think it works fine. But I think sometimes it clouds the vision, right, of what the house could be. So.
Understood.
Different.
And by the way, they don't all have to agree, because I'm going to guess we're going to get mixed opinions on this one.
Oh my gosh, I have to disagree 1,000%. Oh my God, I am the staging queen. It's really bad, like Nazi, like it's really bad. Yes, I work with a lot of great staging companies, and depending on the home and the level and all that stuff, I would say I have an area in my house that is nothing. I have racks, like the rolling racks you get at, whatever, Costco, whatever, those big giant metal ones, bins galore. Every house is going to have white towels if I'm going to take a photo of it. And I will tell, every bed is going to have white bedding. I have probably 6 to 7 sets of white bedding and Euro pillows and big pillows and shams and little pillows. I have bins of, okay, these are the little pillows with gray. I do a lot of that stuff myself. If they don't want to spend the money and do stuff and it's enough I can go in and I can do it myself, it makes a big difference. Make a frickin' bed before a photographer takes a picture. Oh my gosh. Pick up the mats off the floor in the bathroom of the kitchen. Nasty. No one wants to see that. Dirty towels on the kitchen. Oh my God, I can't stand it. It kills me. I mean, I go in and I'm like, this is everything you all need to do. You need to clear out everything off the counters, this and that, And I absolutely think it makes a huge difference. I feel like, as people get older, they tend to collect chairs. You go in these houses, you're like, why are there 10 chairs in this room? And it's like, I don't know what it is. I'm like, let's get rid of some of these chairs. And my assistant and I, we go in and I will tell you, we're like, we're going to come like next week, and then the photographer's going to come, but we're going to come 2 hours. I go 2 hours before my photographer shows up. I am wearing casual clothes and I am dripping sweat by the time the photographer shows up. And sometimes I'm texting going, oh my God, wait like 5 minutes. Because I'm still folding every towel, making every bed, I bring some little plants of greenery. Bookshelves, I take half of them down and redo them. It helps, yes. But then I have companies that come in, they'll fluff things up too, as well. Sorry, but it's just a big, light bulbs. I'm just gonna take one more second. Lighting. I am also a light bulb and not crazy woman. It's an understatement. I have bins and bins of light bulbs, and I will change them. And when it closes, I will change them back out if I have to, because they are and I have my names on all of them. I will tell you, the color of lighting in the house is the biggest issue out there. When you've got these yellow 2800K Edison bulbs, and then you've got this 5000K blue light bulb as if you're in the dentist chair in the kitchen, oh my gosh, people just don't feel comfortable. It's not a good feeling. You change everything to the same color. I prefer 3500K is my lovely color, but some are 3000K, some are 4. Just depends on the house and the lighting and the natural lighting. Huge difference. Your cameraman cannot Photoshop these lights, and then when they get there, they're like, "What is going on?"
Love it.
So there you go.
Love it. Those are some
Light
nuggets
bulbs.
right there.
Huge.
Maria?
So we work for the same company, and we both have been extremely successful, and we work totally.
She's not crazy like me.
I do not stage. I go in, and yes, I've made many beds. And, fluffed up.
How about the light bulbs?
I straighten it, but I don't. She goes.
I said, how about the light bulbs?
She goes over the top compared to what I do. And it's successful. It's beautiful what she does. If a house is really bad, I go before the photographer. I'm moving things off the counter, obviously, for the photos, and I give suggestions. If a room really needs help, we virtually stage. And then we put both pictures on the MLS so they can see what it looks like with MaryStuart's finishings versus what it looks like really in person. So people can envision that. But
love it.
That's how I do it.
Love it. Mel?
So similar to Mike, we have a pretty strong consultation with our sellers discussing how to prepare their homes for photos and video. We're not quite as overboard as MaryStuart is, but we do have an inventory of miscellaneous tchotchkes, and white towels are great, just to help finish that look. I think lighting is big. I can't stand it when there's 5 different color light bulbs in one room. It just doesn't make sense to me. But our real reason for that is just to have that picture perfect photo and video. And it's often reassuring when we walk into a listing appointment and the first thing people say, and this could be in a $500,000 home or a $3 million home. Now, our home doesn't look quite like all the ones that you are selling, but do you think you can help us? Pull the paperwork out, sign it, and get moving.
Love it. Sounds like Tina might be getting some light bulbs.
And I don't handle any of that, by the way. Tina handles all. My wife handles all that.
So here's what I want to ask you guys. Let's talk about either the biggest mistakes agents make in luxury, the biggest misnomers about luxury, or the biggest lesson you've learned selling luxury. Either some mistakes, misnomers, or lessons learned. And I'll flip it over here to George.
I think the misnomer is that luxury sellers, owners, affluent are vastly different from everybody else. They're really not. They've just been fortunate in their careers, their choice of careers. That's, I think, a misnomer. As far as mistakes, I do think the luxury market, as I said earlier, does demand a little more attention, specifics, communication, just harder work, details. But other than that, I don't think there's any real mistakes you can make as long as you have the work ethic and are truly dedicated to it through and through.
Yeah, kind of what George said. I mean, I think one of the mistakes I've seen in probably over the last 4 or 5 years is, again, agents. You don't get lazy, right? If you're in the luxury market and the client's expectations are quite a bit higher, make sure you just show up for everything. Show up for the inspections. Show up for the appraisal. One of the things we do, I show up for everything. I meet the appraiser with 5 to 7 comps. I mean, I got a house appraised for $10.6 million in Keens Point down in Windermere this year, and the appraiser used Golden Oak comps. I mean, but that is, that's outside a different zip code. But same builder sitting on Butler Chain property versus, Golden Oak where you're basically on top of your neighbors, but was able to educate and then, like I said, using the same builder. So just make sure when you're in the luxury market that you're showing up for everything. And because what you don't want to happen is if you do miss something, luxury agents or luxury clients, they'll definitely let their friends know. And so you definitely want to, one of the things Teresa and I pride ourselves on is we talk about our clients as being a transformational relationship, not a transactional relationship. We see our clients as lifetime clients because luxury clients are going to buy 4, 5, 10 homes, through their lifespan of their lives. And so we really take pride in trying to create that relationship.
Love it. MaryStuart? Misnomers, mistakes, or lessons learned?
Lessons learned. In the luxury market, after you go on a listing appointment, go back to your office, write a letter, a handwritten letter, to say thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it and look forward to getting back with you. That's going to get there probably honestly the next day or the day after. That is huge. I really learned that kind of early on in the business where people are like, oh my gosh, that letter was just, wow, got your letter. Thank you so much. I'm like, and it was just like nothing. So like, don't be lazy. I like that, and definitely go to every single thing. Of course, some markets I know are different. A lot of them, have a lot more lock boxes regardless of like the price range and so forth. Kind of where we are, we kind of do, we really have to be there for all of our showings and to present it. And so, but the moment that appraiser calls me, I am like, if it's my listing, I already have the comps. I already have an email drafted. And because a lot of times they'll pull them before they get there and they'll have to be halfway through it the time they get to the house. So get it to them the moment they call and they make that appointment so you could kind of derail them. Give them a list of improvements, everything that your client has done. Those things make such a difference. Give them the keys to the kingdom. I just feel like, like I said, don't be lazy. Of course, I do that on all the, for all of them. I don't know, plenty of mistakes. Good Lord, heavens. I'm doing it long enough. I don't know, but I guess that's good enough, right?
Love it. Maria?
So I'm going to tell you a mistake somebody made years ago, and it cost them a lot of money. I was the listing agent for a house in Windsong, and a realtor came with a physician and his wife who were relocating from the Midwest, and they were looking at a whole bunch of houses. And while I was showing the house, because we accompany for luxury, and for most of our listings, we accompany all showings. So we can point out all the nice details in the house and sell it. Tell them about the area, the community, and such. So this agent who was representing them was on the phone the whole time. And I was showing the house. And I was telling them about downtown Winter Park, the community, the movies in the park, all that stuff. They left there. About probably a week later, they called me and they said, "We want to work with you." That agent made a huge mistake. Those people have bought many, many homes from me. They have connections. He's referred me to physicians in his practice. So that was a huge mistake the agent made. And it's all relationships. My clients become my friends for years. And it's a lot of transactions, repeat transactions, people they know, they give my name out. And that's how I get my business.
Any misnomers you think about the luxury space that agents have?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Any misnomers that you think agents have about selling luxury real estate?
They're not all that savvy.
They're not. They're not.
They've lived there for like 25 years.
Exactly.
That's savvy. Yeah.
Love it.
Egos.
I'll tell you so really fast. So I tell like usually if I think I'm going to have an issue with like egos or you know, where are you? I don't even know where you are.
I'm right here in front of you.
He's right over there.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I feel like I have to look at somebody. I'm sorry, Aaron.
I know, I make it hard, sorry.
But if I think that they're gonna like, you know, with a listing appointment, whatever, I'll like throw in like a crazy little story about real estate and be like, you know, I had this one time, you know, this client. I mean, deals they come together, but you know, deals fall apart over like $500 or even like $5,000. Like it's the craziest thing. These multi-million-dollar homes, and it's such an emotional thing. And you know, when in egos, so I always worry that I just hope we don't get a buyer who's got kind of like an ego. And I'm thinking, I am talking to you, my friend, because I know this is going to happen, and I want to put it out there that we are not going to lose a deal over egos and, you know, like being a bully or whatever, like team player, working well. Like that's, I mean, so it's kind of like you got to really, you know, feel your people out and learn to mimic. Like if they're fast and they're quick and whatever, mimic them. If they're like laid back and chill, talk like that. Like connect with them. Don't be crazy all the time.
Love it.
There you go. Read the room.
Love it.
Read the room.
Mel, mistakes, misnomers, or lessons learned?
I'd say one misnomer is that luxury real estate is glamorous and what you see on TV. Some of it can be, right? You get some really cool properties, you get some really cool attributes that you can just showcase and make it just wow. But a lot of times, it's just a bigger house. And they've lived there for 20 years or 2 years. But you have a job to do, stick to it, be professional. I show up to everything, so stick to that. A mistake, I would say that being intimidated by the dollars and cents. If you have what it takes and you think that you're able to properly service that client, it doesn't matter if it's 200,000, 2 million, or 10 million. Follow your fundamentals, get the job done. If you feel that you might be lacking, then call on somebody that has more experience, team up on it, make it a success. That'll give you the experience to then put that ammo in your belt and move forward and do it on yourself the next time.
Love it. Let's stay with you, Mel. Let's talk. I've had a few people in the audience ask this in different ways. So, and I'm right in front of you for those of you that are looking straight, literally straight in the middle, right here in the middle.
Oh.
I'm about to go to Brian Mitnick with a question to figure out what he wants to ask too. But here's my question for you guys. How do you see the changes in real estate affecting luxury real estate? Either what are you already seeing or what are you preparing for, either or?
We're not seeing much of a change. We have experienced, extended times on market over the past several months. But as far as the fundamentals of the industry, August 17th, it's nothing to us. It's people call us and ask us what, if any, the co-broke comp is. Other than that, for us, it's business as usual. We are finding that potential sellers who we speak with, they are looking for more from their agents. I think that they're realizing now that COVID euphoria, that whole crack scene is gone, and they're looking for the most that they can possibly get out of the relationship they have with their agent. So for us, it's a bit of the same. Just
would you take a listing if a seller said they'd pay a buyer broker?
I would. Yeah, because and we've had that conversation come up. So they've said, I don't want to go with it this time. I said, well, you're going to have to deal with it. So it's whether you agree to it now or you agree to it in a contract. You will have to have the conversation. But again, it's your choice. We don't have any listings right now. None of them. They all have buyer broker comp. But I would take one because we're there to market it. And if the buyer comes direct, that's a different conversation. We do have compensation for us, if that happens, which that does happen about 35% of the time, 38% of the time. But yes, I would. That help if they want to, they can deal with it anytime they want.
Love it.
So, regarding compensation, we won't take one because we feel we're doing business as usual. And we spend a great deal of money marketing your home, and that's the best money spent. And so that's just Fannie Hillman's take on it. We want to do the best job we can and compensate everybody. So we can always negotiate it later, but we are paying a buyer's agent compensation. What I'm seeing with the market in the luxury end, which I've seen for several years, is most people are paying cash. Lots of cash buyers. Not a lot of lenders, with the interest rates and everything. So I see more of that on the higher end. But
love it. MaryStuart?
Yeah, I'm not saying that the government's not going to one day in a year or two do away with it all and that a buyer has to pay for the buyer's agent and the seller agent. But that's kind of where we are right now. It's a big topic in conversation with with our clients. And yes, everything is negotiable. I just, the biggest thing I do is I go and I look at all their competition. Before I sit down, with all the comps and everything with them, I call each one of those agents or I shoot them a text and say, hey, what are you offering? And if all of their competition is offering it, then why would they think that it's okay that they're going to sell their house to someone who's not offering it? It's like, how is that, so I kind of look at it, it's not as easy as saying, no, sorry, we're not going to take your listing if you're not offering. It's like you do have to talk to them and educate them and tell them your competition is. I haven't run across anybody who isn't. I'm working with a lot of buyers right now and most of them are. Gosh, there was something else. What was that? What were the topics they're talking about? Market. Oh, the market. Yeah. Oh my God, it was so on top of my tongue. What were you saying? Hold on, the market change. It is changing. What's that? Yeah, cash buyers. No. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll think about it.
Go back if you come up with Mike. Do you want
to? What I'll say is, COVID saved the luxury market. I think Orlando was headed for a pretty big crash when COVID hit back 2019, 2020. One of the things we have to start looking at is the demand for luxury homes, and because we're talking 5,000, usually 5,000 plus square feet. And if you really look at the baby boomers and you look at the demographic and the people who can afford these homes, many people are starting to talk again about downsizing. So, strategically, as you're out there talking to clients and you're talking to them about pricing, while Florida continues to, escalate in pricing for the most part, and we've seen it level off this year, keep in mind that, 3 to 5 years from now, I'm not sure how many people are going to want to own 7,000, 8,000 square foot homes, or even 5,000 or 6,000. I kind of saw it coming in 2019, and like I said, COVID saved it because everybody moved back home. And but keep that in mind as you're out there, as you're looking at luxury. And in response to the compensation I was sharing with George earlier, I think we've only been on one listing presentation where the client even asked about buyer's compensation. And, you know, I think one of our approaches is we're building in the price model to where, you know, at a certain price, then it may or may not make sense. One of the things that I've been a big proponent of for years, and I don't know if we'll ever implement this or not, but I think one of the things that I talk to my clients about is performance-based commissions. And, you know, if you're working with a buyer's agent and they show up for the showing and they show up for the closing and they don't show up for anything else, what this opportunity has done is it's presented the opportunity to where we're thinking about going, hey, if you show up for A and you show up for Z, but you don't show up for anything in between, this is what you're going to get paid. And we've actually run this by a few lawyers, and so it'll be interesting to see, because as we all know and been in the industry for a long time, you know, we're all getting paid the same, and if one of us is doing all the work and the other one's not, so keep that in mind. I really, really want to hammer that home today, that, you know, agents have to be engaged. It's so important for your client, because if not, that's going to be my client next time. So.
Love it. George?
I do think COVID had a lot to do with where we are in the luxury market and where it's evolved to, with the influx of people from so many places that have money, and they look at these prices as, you know, more affordable than perhaps where they came from. So I don't see the luxury market changing too much, but I do think it's kind of a push-pull thing where the downsizing that Mike talked about is going to probably continue. The baby boomers and the folks that are, you know, empty nesters now, and they don't want the big 6,000 square foot box anymore. So we're going to see some push-pull back and forth. The push is going to be the people coming in with the big dollars from LA or whatever that look at these numbers and they don't flinch. However, there's going to be that continued downsize thing. So the luxury market's going to kind of push-pull or move a little bit, I do think. But I do think we're very fortunate in Florida and Orlando specifically. It's so much being offered here and so many levels that we've got, I think, a great future ahead. And it's going to be, you know, a little bit of ebb and a lot of flow. And I think the luxury market's going to be fine. But there is going to be that downsizing thing that's going to continue to happen. But overall, I think we're very fortunate.
Where do you see it going, the luxury market in Orlando?
These guys are more experienced than I am, and I've just evolved into the luxury market in the last few years, thankfully. But I think it's going to continue for the reasons I've stated. Orlando is such a great part of the state. The weather is a factor. The leadership is a factor. We have a fabulous airport, the road system, the growth, all the reasons that make Orlando an urban sprawl, but yet a place that a lot of people want to come to for a lot of reasons. So I think it's going to keep moving well, and, you know, we all fortunate to be in it and work as hard as we can.
Anyone else want to add something specifically to the luxury market in Orlando growing? Mel, sorry, we're passing mics.
Yeah, just real quick. This year, I think 3 or 4 of our largest or highest dollar sales have been from downsizers, baby boomers. Kids are gone. I'm done with this big monstrosity. I'm going to get a condo and go travel. But they've been picked up by wealthy young millennials. Talking like 8,000 square feet, 7 bedrooms, 6 baths for a family of 3. And they're going to demo the whole thing inside and make just gargantuan rooms, and there's been 3 such examples of that. So I do think there will be a transition going on, but fortunately, we'll hopefully be in the right spot to help those boomers sell and help engage those millennials to buy.
Love it. MaryStuart, you had a thought.
Okay, I did have a thought. So these new buyer-broker agreements, we are so fortunate that we are an office that we've kind of created our own. We've taken like the basics of it. But, you know, at the end, it's like basically says, we don't own you. Like, it's okay. You can cancel at any time. And I think, you know, I've seen actually a couple high-end agents lose their buyers because they're giving them the buyer-broker agreement. They're putting in like a timeline of like, I don't know, 6 months or what have you. And I think, and it's actually bit them in the butt where these buyers are like, I'm not signing that. And they're not. And so I think that honestly, when it comes to, I'm noticing like some trends, I'm a big proponent of open houses. If I think, if it's, again, the right price, that location, this and that, what have you. But these buyers, they don't want to be committed to it like a realtor, like right then and there, just to go show a house. I am starting to see them coming to a lot more open houses, like real buyers, because they're not they don't want to like sign that document, or if they've read it and so whoever put on there like, I own you for the next year. Oh my gosh, no, just put like the actual, I just put the actual address. If it's just, someone I'm just going to show a property, great. But if it's like a client I'm going to work with, I've worked with in the past, of course I'm going to like say, more much stuff to it, like Central Florida, Winter Park, or whatever, home. But I still am not going to put it for so many months. But it's bitten a couple big agents to give that regular buyer broker agreement and not like, you really read it. They've read it. It's horrible. So there you go. We don't own these people. They don't need to think we do. So give them an out. That's what I'm saying.
I can just have one quick follow-up on that, and that's a very good point. When this whole thing went down, we looked at it as an opportunity going forward. I feel there's going to be a much larger population of willfully unrepresented buyers, and they're going to call listing agents direct. As I mentioned, most of our buyer business is already from buyers calling direct, and we love that. There's less travel. You're not going over here, going over there. But going forward, unless buyers agents are going to be flexible and say, hey, protect me on the home I show you, that's reasonable, but I'm not going to lock you up. They're going to be coming direct, so grab some listings. More than likely, you're going to have a few opportunities that come along that way, and then that'll be an extra revenue stream and
love it.
Volume.
How many of you guys have learned something from this panel so far? Make some noise. All right, I got at least one more question for them, but I'm going to share two things and then go back to them. So number one is make sure you stick around and grab some lunch at the Eden Lounge bar. PJ is in the back. He's buying the first $500 worth of food and tipping them on it. So make sure you get your order in. If you don't do it quickly, it doesn't cover you. So last month we had some people not understand. They were like, no, our food's covered. It's like, not if you didn't order it quickly. So first $500, there's a few less of you in here, so that should be easy, but just a thought. Second thought was October 17th is next month's session. Wear your pink. It is our women's panel. It's our 4th year of putting 5 of the top women in Central Florida real estate and giving all the money to Breast Cancer Research Foundation or something similar each month for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Can y'all give it up for that? So make sure you come back and join us. I got one more question for the panelists. Oh, real quick, also, let's give it up for the Enzion for having us here each and every month. Their crew for setting up and everything. Can we give it up to Dave Stewart, D. Stewart Production, and his crew running around and not just doing all the video and the live stream, but they fix so many things that aren't even there. The guy in the back and these guys are constantly fixing other people's tech problems, and so it's awesome. So anyway, the question that I want to ask is I want to talk about your daily, weekly, monthly habits. Mike talked about it a little bit, but we want to hear about your routines. So what are you doing on either a daily, a weekly, or a monthly basis, or even an annual basis? If you could just kind of run us through, what are the habits, the daily routines, the weekly routines that keep you on track to, run your business at a high level? I'll go to you, George.
Daily, my dog wakes me up early, who wants to be fed and walked. So
get a dog.
Yeah, that'll get you going. I read a publication called The Daily Stoic, and it's really a wonderful thing that gives me inspiration going forward for the day. I read it every day. It's a book. It's a 365-day a year of publication. I look at each day, and it's fabulous notes, tips, instructions, wisdom. So I look at that every day. And then I get my day started with, I go to my computer, check what's going on in my neighborhood, check the inventory, closings, pendings, and then I go through my calendar for the week and for the month, and I look at what I want to accomplish, open houses, appointments, and I try to keep my calendar full and prepared, and then I think ahead about buyer matches, and then constant contact with sellers.
Love it.
Yeah, a lot of what George said. I also have a chocolate lab that I walk every morning. So, but and you do get so many clients walking through your neighborhood and talking with people. But one of the things I think what we've identified in ourselves, one of our we got a little weekend and we're really picking it back up. And Mary talked about it earlier. I love that she said she sends a follow-up letter or note card after she does a listing appointment. The last 3 or 4 years, we've all been blessed that. We haven't had to do a whole lot of marketing. It's been, it's such a crazy time and so many people moving here. And we identified probably about 3 to 4 months ago that we were getting a little lazy with our marketing. We do have a letter that goes out to certain farm area, but my wife and I, and actually my wife, Teresa, she just wrote note cards to all 1,052 of our neighborhood. And, fortunately today I'm leaving here and going to do 3 listing appointments. And I think 2 of the 3 are from the note card because they mentioned it. But we had just identified that, hey, we had set 5 new sales records in the neighborhood this year for price per square foot sold. So one of the things that we've identified, daily, monthly, and annually is we've got to reevaluate, kind of what we're doing marketing wise, because I think we are back to somewhat of a normal market. We've got to get back to that. So,
love it. MaryStuart, routines and habits.
Oh gosh. Okay. So balance. It's like the word of like my life, but I'm finally getting it. So I wake up around 5:15 every morning, and I either go to Pilates or the gym from like 6 to 7, and I didn't do that for many, many years. And so now I feel like I'm home by like 7:10. I have a black lab. Sometimes I'll take it for a walk, but what have you. But I do meet people there, but like getting up and going, I work out, I get dressed, I do my hair, I put paint in my face, and I go to the freaking office. Like, I don't work from home, and I'm not a home person. I know a lot of people work from home. I think it's so great. Oh my gosh, so sorry. Yay. That so works for people. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. I have to be around people. I need to be around people if I have a question. We have a broker who sits in his office, and he's there for us. And I'm like, and we ask questions. So that's that. So, I'm an office person. Maria, you work from home mostly as well, but you're in the office quite a bit too. But okay. And then what's that? I know, right? Connection with your clients, like weekly, monthly, everything else. Like, you have to share what you do. That and your thing. That's a huge thing you have to share. I used to do that. I just do other different things. But reaching out to past clients, just picking up the phone, looking at my list of like, okay, who did I sell like about a month ago? So many times, like I think you have a closing. And then you're like, yay. And it's such a bittersweet thing for me. I'm so sad when they sell. You just don't reach back out to them. You got to call them. Call them in a month. Call them, like, see how things are going. Sure, things have broken and you're going to think it's your fault, what have you, but it's not, and it always is our fault. But just communicate. Another
tidbit you made me think of, I got to chime in, is not just looking at last month. Pulling out your calendar and looking at a year ago will help you stay on track. Whatever everyone in this room, whether you sell homes or not, if you look at what happened a year ago, there will definitely be reminders of people you should be following up with, that you closed a deal with, that you had a meeting with, that you did something with, that are on your schedule 1 year ago this month about the same time. Like, I look at everything this month a year ago, and I try to make sure, hey, I met with George. I'm going to reach out to him. Or I sold to so-and-so. I'm going to say, happy 1 year anniversary, or can you believe it's been a year, or whatever. And that's just an easy thing that everyone could do. Sorry, I didn't mean to chime in.
Go, girl.
Okay, so what I've done for years, I go work out, and then I look at my computer, and I have the hot sheet, and I check it several times throughout the day, and I see what new listings, pendings, things like that. What I've done, I always do personal notes after a listing. If I met with someone, thank you so much for meeting us. Nobody does it. It's old school. I'm old school. I don't spend a lot of money at all advertising. It's all relationships. I do social media, and I have someone doing that for me who is phenomenal. And people are always saying to me, oh my God, you're selling so much. And it's my social media person who gets me out there. We do postcards. I do a little advertising, not a lot at all. What I do after closings, I have lasting connections. It's old school. They've been around for years. So
Look
what
it up.
I do,
Lasting Connections. Look it up. It's really great.
It's amazing. So at my closing, I pay, I don't know, $40, $50. I don't know. It just comes out in my closing check, and the office pays it directly to them. And it's a guy who sees the date of the closing, sees the address, sends them congratulations on your closing. I get the card. I sign my name. It's stamped, addressed. Maybe 1 month later, hope you're liking your house. 3 months later, if you think of anyone who might want my services, a year anniversary. And that lasts for about 3 years. It's phenomenal. I don't have to think of it. It just automatically is in my mailbox at the office. He sends it there. I sign it. Done.
So once a month, she'll get an envelope, and it'll have all the cards in there, and it'll have each envelope will be addressed to her client with the stamp on it, and all she does is look at the card, and you just write a little note.
I sign and
You
write a
fold
little
it,
note.
and you put it in the mail.
Which is phenomenal.
Lasting
connections.
Lasting connections, yeah.
It's great.
This month's session was brought to you by Lasting Connections.
And Daily Stoic.
Use
I
the
think
code
they take
Real
the cards.
Producers.
You could even have the option of not even getting them and writing them yourself. They will take it to this retirement community, and the people will sign your name for you.
Yeah. But I
they'll say, "Yay!"
I like
your name,
putting
and
a
then
little
they
note.
put it in. What's that?
I like putting a little note,
yeah.
and then
they
I
mail
heard you're
'em.
pregnant,
You do that, Megan,
the
right?
baby,
Yeah,
something
Megan
like
does it.
that makes it personal.
Yeah.
But I get a lot of business from that. People are impressed by it. That's what I do. I also, it's all relationships. So much of it's relationships over the years, and people remember you.
Love it. Mel, daily, weekly, monthly, annual habits?
Yeah, I'm a creature of habit. I'm up 5 or 6 o'clock every morning. I check the hot sheet. For me, it's just in my immediate area. Listings pending sold, just so I have a bead on what's happening. I look at my spreadsheet. Our spreadsheet tells us where we're at now, currently, actives, pendings, pipeline, everything over the rest of the year. I can see exactly where our business is, and I can identify if there's any gaps that I want to fill. Unlike George and Mike, I have a fat pug, so I wake her up and feed her and have her, take care of her business. And I say good morning to my wife and my daughter. I go to the gym, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. That belongs to me. I go and blow off any steam. And then the phone starts blowing up at 9:05, and I schedule my day, and I just keep everything going. I look at my calendar. I like to keep it full. Fortunately, it's pretty full most of the time, but that's my morning routine, and then the rest is open to whatever the business requires. And it's every day. It's 24/7, 365. Mm-hmm. I work on vacation. I work all the time. And I love it. So that's the difference.
Love it. I'm going to ask, go ahead.
I want to tell 2 quick little stories, one about work ethic and one about determination and doing what it takes. So from a work ethic standpoint, when I first started, and that's what probably drives me today, my broker, when I didn't know much about anything and was trying to build my business, and every once in a while you have to take a breather, I would tell her, I'm going to go out of town to my brother or my mom, and she'd look at me and say, and this was back when this was a lot of money. She said, now, if you go out of town, it's going to cost you $5,000. So I never went anywhere. I never went out of town. I never did anything because that was a lot of money back then. So that's what kind of built my work ethic. The other thing I want to talk about with doing what it takes, or just share this little story, and working with buyers, just a funny little story. I had a nice referral come into town. The wife and the kids, the husband was still out of state. And they were looking at, pretty high-end properties, and I showed them, and I showed them, and I showed them, and she would not make a decision. And I showed her properties that I knew a couple of them she should buy, and she just would not make the decision. So finally, I was kind of at my wit's end. I showed a property that I knew was a great one for them. The girls were there. It just rained. It was a crazy kind of day. And the owners had a basketball court in the backyard, and it was a full-length court. And so I showed the house, and I said, Kathy, what do you think about this? This looks like a good fit, doesn't it? She goes, I don't know. She was indecisive again. And the girls were saying, yes, yes. So I didn't know what to do. So I picked up this basketball after it rained, and I said, if I make this shot, and this was a 50-foot shot, I said, will you buy the house? And she looked at me kind of cross-eyed, and the girls were going, yes, please. And I made the shot. She bought the house. And they've been clients ever since, and sent me a ton of referrals. So just a funny story about doing what it takes.
Love it. I never love to be on that show. If you learned something today, make some noise. All right. Also, I don't know why my mic's out, but on and
Off. All right, there we go. Also give it up for Unique Title, CFBI, and Hatfellow Product. This thing wants to keep going out, so instead of asking one last question, which I was going to do, I'm just going to let us close this thing up. Guys, real quick, give it up for the panelists one more time. If you have any questions, hopefully a few of them might stick around. But stick around and grab some lunch. We'll see you next month for the pink out. We need to see a sea of pink. Next month, October 17th. The women's panel the following month is our Movember. Wear blue. It's a men's panel. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll see you all next 2 sessions. Thank you, guys.